Alrighty. So we're going to be reading Genesis 40 through 42. When I say reading, I mean we're going to be doing some commentary on Genesis 40 to 42. I'm excited about it. Let's go ahead and jump in. We were at the point where Joseph has been sold into slavery by his brothers, his other 11 brothers. They're going on with their lives, living. Daddy, thinks that he's dead. Jacob thinks he's dead. Isaac is our granddad is already dead. He died at 180. So now it is son's turn to be daddy and be the head of the household. So now Jacob is, who God has called Israel, is now running the show, and one of his 12 kids, which become the 12 tribes, they're living their lives. He thinks that Joseph is dead, but when he's really been sold into slavery. And now we pick up where he's got busted by Potiphar for trying to sleep with Potiphar's wife, which she was not telling the truth about that, but now he's in prison. Let's pick up.
Pharaoh was angry with his two officials, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker, and put them in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, in the same prison where Joseph was confined.
So Joseph is in prison.
The guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them.
Now Joseph has worked his way up to being the head of the prison, just like he worked his way up to being the head slave.
Each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night, and each dream had a meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected.
That's not good.
So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why do you look so sad today?" "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there is no one to interpret them." "Just belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. He said to him, "In my dream, I saw a vine in front of me. And on the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed,
now he's a cupbearer,
and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and put the cup in his hand. This is what it means. 3. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position, and you will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to do when you were his cupbearer. But when
so Joseph's interpreting dreams now.
Remember me and show me
kindness.
Tell me
you can't lose with the Lord.
Me to Pharaoh and get me out of this
He'll
prison.
make a way.
I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation,
I don't belong to be
he
here.
said to Joseph,
I don't deserve to be
here. I too had
here.
a dream. On my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. This is what it means,
this is not
Joseph
good.
said. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole, and the birds will eat away your flesh. Now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his officials. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker
Okay, he's throwing a party
of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position so that he once again put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he impaled the chief baker, just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him.
So he got free, didn't even think about the man. It's all right. God is favoring him. God is with him. Don't worry about it.
Passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds.
I like the music on this, y'all.
After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the riverbank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. 7 heads of grain,
so now, 2 years later,
were growing on a single
the Pharaoh's
stalk.
having a dream.
After them, 7 other heads of grain
cupbearer,
sprouted.
so
thin
baker, you know,
and
he's
scorched
dead.
by the east wind.
Cupbearers finally might think
The
of
thin heads of grain swallowed up the
Joseph.
7 healthy full heads. Then Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream.
Oh no.
In the morning, his mind was troubled, so he sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, "Today I am reminded of my shortcomings." Pharaoh was once angry with his servants, and he imprisoned me and the chief baker in the house of the captain of the guard.
Now
Each
he
of us had a
remember.
dream the same night, an evening of its own. Now a young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us, giving each man the interpretation of his dream. And things turned out exactly as he interpreted them to us. I was restored to my position, and the other man was impaled. So Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought from the dungeon. When he had shaved and changed his clothes, he came before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it." "I cannot do it,"
But you can make it
Joseph
happen.
replied to Pharaoh. "But God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "In my dream, I was standing on the bank of the Nile, when out of the river there came
So now
up
he's about to
7
share the
cows,
dream with him.
fat and sleek, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other
This
cows
dream is
came
about to
up,
propel Joseph
scrawny
to the
and
next
very
level.
ugly and lean. I had never seen such ugly cows in all the land of Egypt. The lean, ugly cows ate up the
He's like,
7
I'm not trying to
fat
have any
cows
skinny
that
cow
came
milk.
up first. But even after they ate them, no one could tell that they had done so. They looked just as ugly
game
as
time.
before. Then I woke up. In my dream, I saw 7 heads of grain, full and good, growing on a single stalk. After them, 7 other heads sprouted, withered and thin and scorched by the east wind.
So Joseph's about to
The
tell
thin
him
heads
his
of grain
dream, it's
swallowed
game
up
time, and
the
he's
7
about to.
good heads. I
This
told
dream's
this
about
to
to
the
propel
magicians,
Joseph
but
from
none
the.
of them could explain it
All
to
right,
me.
all right, game effects.
Then Joseph said to
the,
Pharaoh, "The dreams
He's
of
going to
Pharaoh
interpret this
are
dream.
one
It's
and
going
the
to
same.
propel him into
God
greatness.
has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to
Shows
do.
if it's going to, just like he rose to the height,
good cows are
the highest
7
level in
years,
Potiphar's
and the
house.
7 good heads of
He
grain
went from being
are
the highest
7
level
years.
slave in a
one and the
house
same dream.
to about to be
The 7
one of the
lean, ugly
highest,
cows
most
that come
powerful
up
men
afterward
in all of
are
Egypt.
7 years, and east they are 7 years. God has shown Pharaoh
Not good. No
what he is
bueno.
about to do. 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt. But 7 years of famine will follow them. Then all the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. Not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by soon. And now, let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man.
He's saying he sent you the dream twice in 2 different ways because God has already decided to do this. This is what's going to happen.
Appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance.
So now a prisoner and former slave is giving the Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world, advice.
And store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country, to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the famine. The plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials.
So he's saying in the good years, the 7 heads of corn that were fat and the 7 cows that were fat, they ate up the 7 skinny cows.
One in whom is
he's
the
saying,
Spirit
listen,
of God.
in the 7 good years,
Joseph,
be wise.
Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in robes of fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride in a chariot as his second in command, and people shouted before him, Make way! Thus he put him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in all
boss
Egypt.
Of the most powerful nation.
Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphanath-Paneah, and gave him Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph went throughout the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout Egypt.
All of this has happened, and now he's 30. So he's been in prison, he's been a slave, but at 30, he's still young. He still can enjoy his life, and he's going to spend the rest of his life
7 years
basically as
Egypt, and stored it
the head of the most powerful nation on earth. But let me tell you this, had he not been a slave, he wouldn't respect slaves.
Joseph stored up
had he not been in prison, he might not understand the plight of prisoners. He had to be a slave and he had to be a prisoner to qualify him now to be the ruler. God knows what he's doing, y'all. God knows what he's doing is what I'm saying.
To Joseph by Asenath, daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. Joseph named his firstborn Manasseh and said, It is because God has made me forget all my trouble and all my
That name is important. Remember it for later, y'all.
The second son he named Ephraim and said, It is because God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering.
Remember that name too.
The 7 years of abundance in Egypt came to an end. And the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had said. There was famine in all the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food. When all Egypt began to feel the famine,
because
the
they
people
stored it up,
cried
remember?
to Pharaoh for food. Then Pharaoh told all the Egyptians, "Go to Joseph and do what he tells you." When the famine had spread over the whole
So remember, he done put
country,
Joseph in charge of everything. It
opened all
says
storehouses
the only
and
person
sold
more
grain to
powerful
the
than Joseph was the
Egyptians.
Pharaoh himself. Same
The
thing happened in
famine was
Potiphar's house.
severe throughout
Most powerful
Egypt.
person was Potiphar.
And all the world came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe everywhere. When Jacob learned that there was grain in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why do you just keep looking at each other?"
I remember Jacob thinks that
"I have heard that there is grain in Egypt. Go down
Joseph
here
is dead.
and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die." Then 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain from Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with the others, because he was afraid that harm might come to him. So Israel's sons were among
remember, that's
those
his
who
only
went
other son by the wife he loved. Biologically by Rachel, not by her handmaiden, but by
was the
her.
governor of the land.
So he doesn't want
the person
Benjamin
who
to die.
sold grain to all its people. So when
Because he
Joseph's
thinks Joseph is
brothers
already
arrived,
dead.
they bowed down to him with their faces to the ground. As soon as Joseph saw his brothers, he
They
recognized
don't even
them,
recognize him.
but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them.
Remember, he spent
"Where do you
years
come
in
from?"
slavery, and
he
he
asked.
spent years in
"From the land of
prison.
Canaan," they replied, "to buy food."
It's over two. He spent over 2 years in prison
Although
because
Joseph recognized his
when
brothers,
the baker got restored,
they did not recognize him.
it said a couple years later,
Then he
ended up talking to Pharaoh about Joseph.
Spies.
So he could have
You
been in
have come to
prison
see
for
where our
3 or
land is
4 years.
unprotected.
He could have been slave for Potiphar for 3
No,
or
my
4 years.
lord,
Means when they
they
went slowed him
answered.
into slavery,
Your
he was
servants have come to buy
most likely a
food.
teenager.
We are all the sons of one man. Your servants are honest men, not
Or at
spies.
the most early 20s.
No, he said to them. You have come to see where our land is unprotected. But they replied, Your servants were 12 brothers, the sons of one man, who lives in the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more. Joseph said to them, It is just as I told you. You are spies. And this is how you will be tested. As surely
They don't realize
as
that
Pharaoh
it's Joseph
lives,
talking
you
to
will
him, their
not
own
leave
brother.
this place unless your
He
youngest
went from
brother
probably a
comes
teenager.
here.
Now he's a maybe 34, 35-year-old
Send one of your
man.
number to get your brother. The rest of you will be kept in prison, so that your words may be tested to see if you are telling the truth. If you are not, then as
So
surely
now
as Pharaoh
Joseph
lives,
wants to see his
you
only
are
biological
spies.
brother by his mom and dad, Benjamin.
And he put them all in custody for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, Do this, and you will live, for I fear God. If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison, while the rest of you go and take grain back for your starving households. But you must bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be verified and that you may not die. This they proceeded to do. They said
So
to one
Joseph
another,
is kind of playing him in a
Surely
way.
we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this distress has come on us.
So now they're feeling guilty. They're just like, now they're trying to
I tell you
potentially
not to
kill
sin
our
against
brothers
the
or
boy,
destroy our
but
family,
you
and they
wouldn't
think it's because
listen.
of what they did
Now
to
we must
Joseph,
give an accounting for his blood.
not realizing they're talking to Joseph.
They did not realize that Joseph could understand them, since he was using an interpreter. He turned away from them and began to weep, but then came back and spoke to them again. He had Simeon taken from them and bound before their eyes. Joseph gave orders to fill their bags with grain, to put each man's silver back in his sack, and to give them provisions for their journey. After this was done for them, they loaded their grain on their donkeys and left. At the place where they stopped for the night, one of them opened his sack to get feed for his donkey, and he saw his silver in the mouth of his sack. "My silver has been returned."
So not only do they have the food that they went to Egypt to buy, they also have their money back.
To each other, trembling, and said,
so now they know they're being set up.
What is this that God has done to us?
This is a setup.
When they came to their father Jacob, they told him all that had happened. They said, "The man who is Lord over the land spoke harshly to us and treated us as though we were spying on the land. But we said to him, 'We are honest men. We are not spies.' We were 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more, and the youngest is now with our father in Canaan." Then the man who is Lord over the land said to us, "This is how I will know whether you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me, and take food for your starving households, and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so I will but brother back to you, and you can trade in the land." As they were emptying their sacks, there in each man's sack was his pouch of silver. When they and their father saw the money pouches, they were frightened. Their father Jacob said to them,
like, uh-oh,
"You have deprived me of my
problem.
children.
Joseph
is no more, and Simeon is no more. And now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me."
Remember, they think Joseph is dead.
Then Reuben said to his father, "You may put both of my sons to death if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him to my care, and I will bring him back." But Jacob said, "My son will not go down there with you. His brother is dead, and he is the only one left. If harm comes to him on the journey you are taking, you will bring my grave.
Whew. This is a lot of drama. So much drama in the Bible. This is good, y'all. So as much as, my wife says it this way, she says, if you get pregnant out of wedlock, and she just says this to the women at a women's conference. So if you're a woman and you get pregnant out of wedlock, God will forgive you, but by the same token, you still have that baby you got to deal with. Like, you still got to raise them. You still have the consequence of those actions, even if you were forgiven for them. And in this case, even if God forgave them for what they did to Joseph, they're still having to deal with the consequences of it, which is the man they sold into slavery, their own brother, now is Lord over them, and they don't even know it. And they're going through these consequences. And so know that God is with you. God favors you. Even though Joseph was sold into slavery, God was with him the whole time and blessed him as a slave to Potiphar, blessed him. Now he's the most powerful man in the world next to the Pharaoh himself. Because Egypt was really powerful. They had chariots and technology, and they were good, as far as strength and power. So God has your back. Know that God has your back. God is for you. And even when you're forgiven, you still got to deal with whatever you did. Not from a guilt standpoint, but just if you slap somebody, they might hate you for the rest of your life, or you got to deal with their attitudes, or you might be forgiven by God, but you still got a consequence of those actions, and you have to face them in humility. Ask for that person's forgiveness. Be humble. Realize that situation wouldn't exist had you not been a bad actor. Even if the other person was a bad actor, you didn't have to respond with bad acting. You could have responded with kindness. So let your heart be soft towards it and work it out. I love you. God bless you. Make sure you post in the Rooted group, find it and post. Make sure you read these chapters if you hadn't already read it before you watch the commentary. All right. God bless you. Peace.